So, what is this idea of a false narrative which we could have about ourselves? And what does this mean? Like, so when we look at ourselves, we can see that there exists within us this vast landscape of consciousness and a profound it's a profound and pervasive phenomenon, right? This consciousness, we really look at it. So a lot of people, I've referred to this as the hard problem. What is this? What is this consciousness? So it's profound, right? Pervasive. It's a phenomenon we can see. So it's the construction and the perpetuation of the image, which subtly and relentlessly shapes our perception of ourselves and the world around us, right? So this image is woven through the intricate threads of our conditioning, and it creates this veil that obscures the inherent truth of our being. So we can see that from an early age, we are immersed in a huge sea of influences. So, like society, culture, family, education, all of these things conspire to mold our minds and shape our identities, right, based on their unfolding, based on their construct. So, we're taught to conform and adopt these predefined roles and to seek approval and validation from others because of these things, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing, not a good thing, it just is. So in that process, our individuality becomes submerged beneath layers of like borrowed ideas and beliefs and all of these sets of expectations, right? So that image, excuse me, it's image that we accumulate mainly subconsciously within ourselves. We that we project, it becomes this carefully crafted facade, carefully constructed, right, to meet the demands and expectations of those groups of that society. So we invest enormous energy in maintaining and enhancing this sense of image and polishing it with like successes, possessions, and achievements, right? So there's this fear that this prospect of being exposed and stripped of these artificial layers that we've woven around ourselves and within ourselves, that they could be revealed and they could show the nakedness of our true nature. But if we don't know what that true nature is, how do we know it's a bad thing? Why would we feel upset about it? So behind that masquerade, there lies an immense potential waiting to be discovered. So when we like dare to ask or to question, when we dare to question the validity of that image, and when we look beyond the confines of our own conditioning, this gateway to freedom opens up before us. We will begin to realize that the image is really nothing more than a distorted reflection. It's an illusion, right? That we've like unwittingly and unwillingly, well, unwittingly embraced. So for us to really awaken to that sense of our true nature, we have to encourage and have the courage within ourselves to observe without judgment, without filters, to witness the workings of the mind as it incessantly constructs and reinforces the image. So, in the process of self inquiry, we become aware of the limitations imposed by our conditioning, right? The boundaries that confine our perception and distort our understanding. So that image we hold of ourselves is a fragmentary narrative. It's very small, right? All of these things that we hold within ourselves, this idea of our image is something that we hold. We construct it. We reflexively and through conditioning construct an image of ourselves. So we hold that, and it's fragmentary. It's a fragmentary narrative because we are part of this vast creation itself. So are we this fragmentary narrative? that's pieced together by the past, that's projected into this uncertain future. Huh? So it's a constant source of anxiety and conflict for a lot of people. So as we seek to defend and preserve a self that is ever changing and impermanent, right? So our identification with this image, it breeds a sense of separation and division and that ceaseless pursuit of fulfillment that remains continually and forever elusive. So a sense of liberation, of real liberation, of true liberation, it really does lie in the in transcending the confines of this self-created prison. So it requires this radical shift in our perception, an unflinching examination of the illusory nature of the image which we constructed. So in that space of profound inquiry, the mind is emptied of its accumulated knowledge and all of those conditioned and reflexive responses. So it's then that we can perceive the world and ourselves new, fresh, with a clarity that's unbound by those preconceived notions and those prejudices. And to get to that space, we need to really focus and develop and cultivate this sense of self. And we do this, one way we do this is through sadhana and meditation. So our own subjective experiences and practices. So when that image is dissolved, what remains is this boundless expanse of consciousness, because we've rid ourselves of this fragmentary piece. So we get rid of this small piece, and what's left is the vastness of everything, which is unrestricted by the limitations of time, form, and identity. Those no longer are at play. There's still something we work within and work with. We just recognize that they're not an aspect of this image that we formed of ourselves. So in that state of that self-discovery, we become intimately connected to that underlying fabric of existence itself. We recognize our nature as existence. So we're no longer confined to those narrow boundaries of our self-created narratives, but instead we're like an integral part of the vast interconnected web of life itself. Rather than just the knowledge of this, we gain the experience of it. And it's within the experience of this ourselves being this interconnected web of life, that we really find a deep sense of freedom. So to be free of that false narrative of the image is really to embrace the fluidity of existence itself, and to dance with that ever-changing rhythm of life. So we live in a state of continual discovery, right? Where the known gives way to the unknown. A continual cycle. And the mind is open to the infinite possibilities that unfold within each and every moment. That is your true nature. Namaskar.